When those illusions shatter, that truth is going to rise. The divine masculine is feeling torn. I gotta say that. It feels pretty heavy because the weight of his past choices is hitting him like a ton of bricks today. This connection is calling him forward, but the fear, the guilt, the karmic interference is still trying to cloud his vision. And he knows what love is. He knows love belongs with you, divine feminine, but I don't think he feels worthy of it. Divine feminine, you got the devil card, and so it's time for you to break these chains. Not just from the counterpart, but from everything that has ever told you you are too much, not enough, that you are meant to wait. Do not let temptation whisper in your ear, you are burning through illusions too. And I think you're all done dancing with the shadows and you're choosing freedom. And the combined energy today for the twins is that justice card. And so karma is balancing these scales. We're preparing for that full moon in Libra, and the past is being reviewed today. Truth is going to rise from the ashes. There's going to be no more avoidance. This connection is being purified by fire. Is fear going to win? Is the heart going to rise? Stay tuned. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's talk about today's energies. Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everyone. It is Laura, and let's talk about these collective energies because they are karmically rich today with a lot of undercurrents. We do have the moon transiting through Virgo, making several aspects before it transits into Libra, and then we'll be in an opposition to Neptune and Aries. And so we are just about in that full moon and Libra energy. So let's talk about this because I do feel this is a very important message for the Twin Flame Collective. I want to say it's deeply, deeply illuminating, especially for the Divine Masculine. And so there is a very strong emphasis in the energies today connected to spiritual and emotional implications for both of the counterparts. But I do feel for especially the Divine Masculine energy coming through, which I feel it's like the DM is getting a very serious wake-up call in these energies. An integrated moment is really what it feels like connected to the masculine collective. And so we've got the moon in opposition to Venus in Pisces, which is still retrograde. It will go direct the day of the full moon. And so this really is that karmic reckoning playing out, especially connected to love, right? Because Venus retrograde is all about love. And I do feel this is especially potent for the Divine Masculine in that karmic influential energy that they have been connected to. And so this opposition, I gotta say, is bringing in a very strong energy of heartache connected to that idealism of that Venus and Pisces energy. And so I think the Divine Masculine is reflecting on all of his past relationship choices, and especially where he has idealized that karmic partner, or where he's even avoided that emotional depth that is required within this counterpart dynamic. And so I think this is really triggering a lot of guilt and regret. I really do. It's this deep longing that I felt connected to the masculine, or this deep desire, I want to say, to make things right. But there's a lot of confusion, I think, as to how to do that, right? Because many of us have been in separation for a better part of the decade. And so we've got the moon in a trine to Uranus and Taurus. And so this is emotional breakthrough energy, right? Taurus is all about unexpected breakthroughs, unexpected clarity. I also feel emotional clarity. And this is like a tower energy. And so I want to say that transit is going to be like a blessing in disguise energy coming through, because Uranus is coming to shake things up, shake things loose. And I do think this is connected to all of these outdated karmic emotional patterns. And so I think the Divine Masculine is suddenly seeing that truth, especially in that situation where I think they've been resisting facing that truth. And with Venus about to go direct, that reckoning is pretty loud. We've got the moon in an opposition to Saturn. Saturn is all about karma. It's a malefic planet. And so this is carrying that weight of those soul contracts. And that's what it felt like. Emotional responsibility, really spiritual and emotional responsibility was pretty loud. It's heavy. I gotta say it felt very heavy. Saturn is karmic energy and emotional energy connected to the Piscean theme. And so I just feel the Divine Masculine felt like this deep sense surrounding the masculine of failure. Failure to launch. I think they're feeling trapped. especially by the choices that they've made, right? And maybe where they've chosen to conform to other people's ideals. And so there is like a reckoning coming through, I gotta say, with these spiritual consequences in these energies. And so this full moon in Libra is balancing everything out for those that have been on the path and doing good and putting those high vibes out there and walking the path. There's going to be dharma coming through for those that have avoided the emotional responsibility and doing the right thing. There's going to be a karmic reckoning. There is going to be spiritual consequences coming through. And with the moon in a sextile to Mars in Cancer, I do feel this is bringing a surge of emotional courage, especially for the divine masculine. It's like he's finally going to feel brave enough to confront all of these inner fears, and he might even possibly find the strength to reach out to the divine feminine, or even just to start taking those steps, I want to say, to honor their true emotional needs and what's true for them on their heart. And with the moon in opposition to Mercury in Pisces, which is now direct, this really is mental versus emotional processing going on. It's like the veil is lifted, right? It could have been confusing with Mercury retrograde. Now the veil is lifting with Mercury station direct. And this is going to trigger a lot of emotional overwhelm. It's like the mind needs to catch up with the depth of these emotional realizations, and there's going to be miscommunications. There's going to be misunderstandings. And I feel the divine masculine is really putting this energy towards like a review, a reviewal. There's a massive clearing energy playing out today. So expect those messages. They might come through in dreams. They might come through with signs and synchronicities. And then the moon is going to enter into Libra, and it's going to almost immediately oppose Neptune in Aries at that very early 0-degree point. And this is where the divine masculine is going to feel that need to create that emotional balance and to make that peace, even if it's just with himself. But I do feel especially making that peace with the divine feminine. But this opposition, I got to say, is creating a lot of fogginess, because there's still a bit of illusions playing out versus this new beginning that is being presented at that 0-degree mark. And so I feel what the divine masculine is feeling, what I heard through telepathy, connecting to the divine masculine collective, was I want to do the right thing, but I don't know what's real anymore. I also heard, like, do I reach out, or is it all in my head? I think they're really wondering if they've made a lot of this up in their head. And I think they're questioning, like, if they follow their soul, are they going to lose everything that they've built? Because I do think that's a very strong possibility of them losing everything that they have built. And so I do feel these energies really are triggering that ego death moment for the divine masculine. There is a deep yearning. I feel it. There's a push, I feel, to release all of these illusions, especially connected to love, and romantic illusions are being released so we can prepare for that union on the twin flame journey. And so I feel the divine masculine today is in a state of emotional purging. There's going to be tears. There's going to be regrets. There's going to be a very heavy weight of a realization of all of the time that's been lost. There's going to be a shift, I feel, from this idealism to taking accountability. They're going to have to face this emotional truth, and it's going to be very discomforting. There's going to be like a catalytic message or catalytic dream coming forward, I feel, from the divine feminine. And there is going to be this deep desire being triggered for them to make amends, even if the how is unclear. This pulling energy is undeniable towards the feminine, and they are feeling the karmic weight of that soul contract and all of this emotional avoidance that they've been playing into. And so divine feminine, the message for you was, I feel you're going to feel this energetic pull from your divine masculine. You're going to feel it in the solar plexus. You're going to feel this need to reach out, and you possibly might also feel drained of your energy, or even emotionally drained because of the pulling and the tugging from the counterpart. And I do feel this is going to heighten your empathy towards this whole situation. And I do think that psychic connection is really loud, I gotta say, in astral travel and in dream space. So really pay attention. But I think you're being tested. You are being tested because you truly need to surrender the need for any type of control of any kind of timeline when it comes to these unions. That's a big message for you, divine feminine. And this is an invitation, I think, just to hold space. We can't lose ourselves in the divine masculine's emotional tide, emotional breakdown, and their ego death. We have to stay strong and grounded and rooted in our own reality that we are creating, because this day is like a karmic reckoning, a karmic checkpoint, especially for the masculine collective, where they're going to have to confront all of these deeply buried emotions. And I think this is a very Virgo task, being asked of them to sort out what's real, sort out what's an illusion, what really needs to change. And I do feel you're the one there holding that lantern. You're the one holding the light, holding the lantern on the other side, because you've already been through this process. You are already on the other side. And so you cannot dim your light. And you cannot sit around and wait. We are not here to sit around and wait. We've got stuff to do. We've got people to meet. We got places to go to. So shine that light, because I do believe there is deep soul alchemy happening over the next few days. And we're clearing that space, I got to say, for the next level of this journey. And so there is going to be feelings being triggered of unworthiness, because I was shown the Fool reversed with the Empress upright. That's the theme. The divine masculine does not feel worthy of your divine love, of your forgiveness, but he's deeply drawn to you like a magnet, like a moth to a flame. And so there's a lot of regret over his past choices. I really do feel that. And I think he's looking back at when he had the chance to take a leap. Maybe he's had several chances to take a leap towards you, towards healing, towards authenticity, or towards union, and he didn't choose it. And so I think there's a lot of regret. There's a lot of fear connected to this change, because they're seeing now how their recklessness and their avoidance and their emotional immaturity has really hurt the divine feminine and hurt this connection. And they're going to have to forgive themselves. I think that's the big one, right? And I think they're sitting in a pile of shame and self-doubt, because they didn't trust the journey. They didn't trust their heart, and they followed their ego. They sought that external validation. They went into a karmic cycle, and now they feel, well, let's face it, they feel like a fool. They feel like a sacred clown, and they've been blocking this new beginning, and now they want to start over. And I think they're in this energy of analysis paralysis. It's like they feel like they've lost the right to even have a fresh start or an opportunity with you. I think they feel like that you deserve so much better than them because of all of the pain that they have caused you. And so I just feel there's going to be a lot of realizations flooding in, along with a lot of emotions. And I do think there's a lot of emotional paralysis going on here. I think the view of the divine feminine from the masculine standpoint is heartbreakingly beautiful, to be honest. I think they see you, divine feminine, as radiant, nurturing, abundant, unconditionally loving. They recognize your divine presence. They recognize you now as a divine feminine and the one that birthed this love, this unconditional love into their life. But there's a major perception gap going on here. They feel that you're too good for them now. They feel like, well, they see that you've evolved and they chose to stay stuck. And they're not even sure if you want them anymore. And I think a lot of divine feminines are right there like I am. I don't even know if I want this person anymore. I don't even know how I would feel if there was that face-to-face after all of these years. Like, I don't even know if the energy would even still be there. And so I do think you're serving as that divine mirror. The Libra full moon is that mirroring energy. It's like you are everything they wanted, and you are triggering everything they were afraid to become, because they would have to step up and meet you at your level. And so you embody all of these triggers for them too, as part of their awakening. And so there's some pretty dynamic energies playing out today. And they've got to face that fear of the unknown. We don't know how this is going to play out in the physical reality. If the masculine were to reach out, I think the only thing holding him back is that fear of rejection. I really do think it's that fear of rejection. And although I know there's unconditional love in these connections, there's love, there's growth, there's the possibility of divine union, I don't think the divine feminine knows how she actually would react in that physical sense if there were to be a face-to-face. I think that's kind of up in the cards, like up in the cosmos, and there really is no solidified union, because we just don't know how that's going to play out if the masculine were to take a chance. And so I just feel if you're the divine feminine tuning in, I think you are going to feel the karmic ripple effect playing out with the masculine connected to the weight of his past choices. I think he's in a very dark night moment And I think this is a very deep, real heart awakening. And I do think you probably are feeling the waves of sadness, longing, and confusion that the masculine is going to. And this might hit you out of nowhere. It's not your energy. It's his energy as he processes all of this emotional truth. And so your Empress energy, I just got to say, it's being felt, it's being seen. Even if he can't come forward in the 3D, even if he can't express it, he knows. So stay anchored in your truth. Keep embodying that divine feminine frequency. That's really what is needed. We're here to hold that light, because your grounded radiance is supporting the release and the shame of the collective connected to the divine masculine. And so if you've done your part, divine feminine, if you've let go with love, if you've forgiven yourself, if you've let it go with no negative emotions, that becomes the invitation for the divine masculine to rise as that phoenix, to not stay stuck in regret, and to remember that you are birthing the new cycle. Divine feminine, you are the one birthing the new earth cycle. It's like you're the midwife of the fool's rebirth coming through. So let's dig into some cards. I've mapped out a spread. We're going to pull 6 cards for the masculine, 6 cards for the feminine. We're going to get 5 cards for the combined energy. And I think we might go into some twin flame messages, some channeled messages from the divine masculine. I'm not going to be doing an extended reading today because I think this message is so important. Everybody deserves to have access to it. So let's pull some cards and I'll meet you guys on the other side. All right, guys, let's break it down because this spread is potent. It's feeling karmic. There's soul level transformation going on here today. And I do feel the divine masculine is in this internal battle. It feels like a war zone inside for the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I gotta say, your powerful, radiant energy, your restraint in this connection is really forging that shadow to come to the surface. There's justice here and there's ultimate clarity. Let's walk through this reading together. We're going to break it down with the divine masculine collective first. I did pull 6 cards for the masculine, 6 cards for the feminine. I pulled 5 cards for the overall combined energy for the twins, and I did get some channeled messages from the divine masculine to the divine feminine. And so let's talk about these energies because, like I said, it is potent. And so the first card out for the masculine, we do get this 3 of Pentacles in reverse. And so this is basically the current state of the masculine today. And I do feel he's very disconnected. He's feeling very disconnected, possibly even rejected, like he can't build with anybody right now. And so I think there's like this energy of like a lack of collaboration surrounding the masculine. He's probably feeling very misunderstood, not being able to integrate anything with others, especially the divine feminine. And I think he's surrounded by people, but he still feels emotionally isolated. We see one person on the card. And so I do think he is aware that he can't do this alone, but I think his pride and this confusion is keeping him stuck. It's definitely echoing that energy of the Fool reverse that I channeled, and I think he's kind of feeling a little bit unprepared, and I think he's feeling very undeserving when it comes to showing up as an equal partner for the feminine. But the 10 of Pentacles was the second card out for the masculine, and this is his mental space. This is his thoughts about the divine feminine, and it's pretty loud. He wants long-term commitment with you, divine feminine. He wants to build a legacy. He wants a family with you, 222 on the timer. And so there is a deep sense that he sees you as somebody that he could have absolutely everything with. And I think he still likely very, very much wants that with you. But there's a deep sense of grief here, I gotta say. Like, he sees what he could have built with you, but now he feels like it's completely out of reach. And I also think he's obsessing over how to get back what it is that he lost with you, or how could he ever be deserving of that again. And so this is huge. This is huge. Divine feminine, this is showing that the masculine understands your value and the potential that this connection holds, even if he's not acting on it quite yet, because the third card out for the masculine is this King of Wands in reverse. And so this is the karmic wound that the masculine is needing to face. And so the ego, the desire for control, and the fear of failure, that's really where the masculine is at in these energies. And so there is a deep karmic wound here around his own masculine distortion. And there's aggression, there's manipulation, there's avoidance. All of this has been masked as a fake sense of being in control, a fake sense of leadership. And so I gotta say, I do feel he's learning that false confidence does not replace authentic action. And I do think there's anger here. I do think he's at a point where he's giving up the pattern. I think things are getting really real. It feels very emotionally intense surrounding this karmic wound of the masculine, and he's kind of confronting where he led with ego rather than his heart. That's pretty deep. And so the fourth card out, this is where he's feeling like the Fool. We get the Lovers reversed. And so this is regret of making the wrong choice. This is the loss of that sacred bond with you, divine feminine. And I really do feel that the weight of choosing wrong, that's really what this is. It is the weight of the masculine making the wrong choice. And I do think this is directly tied to some type of separation or betrayal, perhaps in the karmic connection. And I think he feels like, yeah, he made the wrong choice. And he avoided making maybe even a choice altogether. But I do think there is a sense of fear here connected to true intimacy. And I think there's a fear of surrender. And I think now he feels like he chose comfort and karmic safety over this divine truth. And there's massive, massive, massive self-blame here. And he knows he fumbled you. I want to say he knows He fumbled you. Divine Feminine, we get the Eight of Cups is the next card out. And so this is his hidden desires. And I do feel he secretly wants to walk away from everything that is no longer fulfilling him. But he's scared. And we see the full moon. And so I do think this is going to be forced. I do think he's emotionally done with something in his external world, which is likely that karmic situation. It could be work. It could be unhealthy habits. It could be another person. Because the Queen of Wands reversed did come out in the combined energy. But I think he's just done. And there is this longing for meaning. There's this longing for depth and this soul connection, but there's uncertainty about what's going to lie ahead, right? It's like his soul craves that depth with you, Divine Feminine, but his mind is still trying to sort out the illusion and the fear. And so the next step, the next soul guided step for the masculine is the Seven of Cups. And I love that there's the full moon energy. And so I do think the full moon in Libra is saying it's time to clear the confusion. It's time to clear the illusion. His higher self is calling him to stop fantasizing, to stop hiding an illusion, and to get rigorously honest with himself. And so I think there's so many options. There's so many internal voices. He's going to have to discern that truth from that distraction. And this really is a big call for the masculine to face the fog and to make a choice that is going to be aligned with his heart and not his ego. And so his awakening will begin fully when he chooses clarity over comfort. Okay, so pretty intense energies around the masculine. Let's talk about the Divine Feminine breakdown. And so your current emotional state, we get that Two of Pentacles. There's that sacred clown energy coming through, but I feel a lot of juggling. I think you are so sick and tired of juggling the emotions, juggling all of the priorities, and juggling that sense of uncertainty in this connection. It's like you're torn between focusing on yourself and still feeling connected to the Divine Masculine that I think you're trying to unhook yourself from. And I think you're likely feeling all of his emotional waves, and you're trying to balance hope with surrender. And so there's a fine line here. It's like you could be trying to keep everything moving in the 3D while your heart is aching quietly in the background. It's like you're doing everything. It's like you're holding the labor of this connection, and you've been doing it by yourself and maybe for the last couple of years. And I just think you're getting to this point where you are fed up. The next card out for you, Divine Feminine, this is your heart's desire. And it was the Six of Wands in reverse. And so I really had to sit with this one because I do feel this is where you want that recognition. You want to progress forward. You want the acknowledgement. You feel like you are completely unseen. And I do think this is pointing to some type of disappointment. That union hasn't quite manifested, and there may be a deep inner questioning going on, like, did I imagine it all? I know that's where I've been lately, like, will this ever be seen? Will I ever be celebrated for who I am? And so it's like, your heart does want that validation. You want that forward movement, but it's like, why isn't it arriving yet? And then the next card out, Divine Feminine, the Nine of Pentacles. And so this is what you are guided to surrender. The Nine of Pentacles. And oof, this is a big one. And so I got to say, this is about hyper independence and not needing anybody. And that is a big one that I've been sitting with a lot lately because at times I don't even know how to ask for help because I've always had to hold it down by myself. Everything, right? Running a household, parenting children, running a business, paying all the bills. I do it all by myself. I've been doing it all by myself for quite some time. And so there is a need to release that hyper independence, Divine Feminine. If you're resonating with that, it's like Spirit is asking you to let go of the need to do it all alone. And I know it feels like you have been doing it all alone, but you are self-sufficient, and that's a very powerful thing. But if you are cutting yourself off from receiving or being vulnerable, that needs to be brought back into check. Okay, Divine Feminine. This is also, I feel, a message to release attachment to the identity of being separate. And so you are being invited to soften and to allow true interdependence within this connection and in your life in general. Okay. The next card out, this is where your Empress energy shines. The Nine of Cups. You are pure, radiant self-love. You're cultivating that inner joy. You're cultivating that emotional fulfillment and that personal empowerment. And it feels really, really good. Amidst all the chaos, you are the wish fulfillment. You really are. You're the magnet. You're the soul call for the Divine Masculine that I don't think he can ignore anymore. It's like your joy, your energy, your peace. It is awakening that divine mirror, and I don't think he can avoid this magnetic pull any further. And so a message from your higher self. We get the Four of Wands in reversed. And so the soul says to you today, Divine Feminine, do not get stuck in waiting mode. The union itself is with your own inner masculine and feminine energy. And so this is also a big reminder to release any expectations or timelines around physical union. There is a sacred foundation being built, but you first have to energetically shift. And with this coming out in reverse, I think this shows that even when things don't look like it's a celebration, there's still a sacred structure here that is always forming below the surface. And your higher self, I think, is asking you to trust in the foundation, even if it seems invisible, okay? And so the soul guided next step, we got the Devil card that fell out with the Ace of Wands. And so pretty interesting combination of cards. And so this is powerful. This is alchemical, I gotta say. And so I feel you are being asked to confront any attachments. You're being asked to confront obsessions, fears, temptations, or any over focus on the divine masculine or this union. And so the Ace of Wands shows there is a powerful new beginning here. There really is, but you got to break free from waiting. You are the new beginning. And so I think you are in a full-on rebirth, I want to say, connected to your creative fire. I think your sexual energy is just like a magnet right now, and your soul mission, right? This is your soul mission. And so your liberation from the toxic patterns is the catalyst. You are birthing, I want to say, you are birthing your own divine flame. Okay, that's exactly what is going on here. And so we're going to break it down with the combined energy. And so the present foundation that came through as the combined energy for the twins is the Ace of Pentacles. And so this is the new beginning that is possible. Follow the yellow brick road. And so you have to be rooted in reality. The twins do have to be rooted in reality this time. And so this connection is being reset. It's not just romantic. It's not romantically romanticized anymore. It has to be grounded. It has to be tangible. And we can't have those rose-colored glasses on. And so this is about building something solid with integrity. And it's huge. Spirit is saying, yes, you can begin again, but it has to be different this time. It can't be the same as it was. And so the seed has already been planted, but it has to be nurtured differently this time than it was before, right? The karmic balancing, we got the Justice card. And so how appropriate. This is big time karmic balancing. There's a need to have faith. There's a need to have blind faith here. And if we see on the card, we get the energy of the Mott principles. We get the weighing of the heart, and the heart must be as light as a feather. And so the truth must be seen. The truth must be owned, especially by the divine masculine, especially where his past dishonesty and his avoidance has existed within this connection. And I do think this does reflect the divine feminine fully stepping into that alignment of knowing what it is that she deserves. There is a soul contract here being severed in order for the twin soul connection to be reevaluated and realigned. And so the universe is saying there must be truth, there must be accountability, and there must be balance. And so the shared burden between the twins is the Ten of Wands. And so I think both of the twins are just carrying too much emotionally, spiritually, karmically. I feel this is like collective exhaustion, and we've all been feeling it. This is collective exhaustion, and we need to put down these old stories. We can't carry the weight of these old stories anymore. And so the divine masculine especially is overwhelmed by the weight of these past mistakes and his current misalignment. And the divine feminine, I feel, has been carrying the energetic burden of this connection for both of the twins for far too long. And so this all needs to be released. Both of the twins are being asked to let go of what no longer serves their union anymore. Okay, so get ready to release. And then the shadow between them, how appropriate, the shadow between the twins is the devil. Like, whoo, this is like loud. This connection is bound. It is bound regardless, but are you bound by love or are you bound by fear? There is divine will that will always supersede personal will on the twin flame counterpart journey. And so what I got to say is there's still addictions here. There's still obsession. There's still shame. There's still karmic cords present, likely on the masculine's end, but this is being mirrored by the feminine subconscious too. And so there is a karmic or sexual third-party energy here that is interfering. And that was confirmed, I got to say, by the Queen of Wands reverse that came out, because that is the karmic interference. The last card out was the karmic interference. And so there's a mirror here of temptation. There's a mirror here of fear of surrender and fear of that true soul liberation. And so to be free together, the twins must face what binds them and what keeps them apart. And so the last card out was what is the karmic interference? And we got the Queen of Wands in reverse. She's wreaking havoc on this connection. This is not the divine feminine. Let me be very clear. This is an outside source. This is somebody who holds seductive power over the divine masculine, either through control, sexual ties, manipulation, or guilt. And although she might appear confident and radiant, she's a block. This is a very nasty, nasty, controlling, possessive, karmic energy that doesn't know her worth, that doesn't know her value, that seeks to control, that is seeking to block these unions and the divine masculine's liberation. And so this presence is definitely linked to the devil and the Ten of Wands. And the divine masculine knows she's part of the weight, but yet he still has not broken free. This is being spiritually exposed. That karmic feminine is going to reap her karma. She is being spiritually exposed, and the divine masculine must choose to walk away. And so I did go one step further. I pulled my Twin Flame Messages deck. I haven't really pulled those in a while. And these are going to be channel messages from the divine masculine to the feminine. And I do feel these messages do confirm everything from the spread. And so we got my heart is just telling me to do it. My heart is telling me just do it. He's feeling that pull, divine feminine. He knows he needs to act. He knows he needs to walk away. He knows he needs to reach out. He knows he needs to reclaim his truth, but he's still hesitating at the edge, right? Even though he knows he has to just do it. And now I'm getting ringing in my ear, very loud ringing, high-pitched ringing in my ear on the left side. We got, I know you're right, but I still need to come to my own conclusions. And so this is the echoing of that Lover's reverse card in the Seven of Cups. He knows what's true. But his pride, the karmic energy creating the fog, is clouding his ability to act on this truth. Because he knows. He knows. I just have to do something else right now. Please try to understand. And so I do feel this is pointing to that Eight of Cups and that karmic entanglement of him closing out that cycle. He has to close out that cycle before he can come back. This is keeping him from union for now, but I don't think it's going to keep him from union forever, because we also got the card, we will be together again. And so this is definitely, I got to say, this is definitely linked to that Ten of Pentacles. That's what I'm feeling there. And I do feel this just confirms that he does see a future with you. He really does, even if he doesn't know how to get there yet, okay? Even if he doesn't know how to get there. And then we got, I've never forgotten about you, even though you think I have. And so this one's pretty deep. You've always been the wish for the masculine. You've always been the vision. You've always been the anchor. And he's never forgotten about you. And so bottom of the deck, my mind and heart always comes back to you, divine feminine. And so this is saying this connection is undeniable. He keeps returning to you in thought, in dreams, in the heart space. And so I just feel the divine masculine is standing at the edge. He's standing at that cliff. The universe is pushing him to see through these illusions, divine feminine, to break that toxic tie, right? The universe is pushing him to break that toxic tie. And his longing is real. He's got to choose love. He's got to choose sovereignty. And I do think he's got to initiate action, not just sitting in the realization. And divine feminine, I feel you're being guided to stay anchored. Stay anchored in your joy. Stay anchored in your power. Let go of the old timelines. Let go of the old attachments, divine feminine. Your role right now is to stay in your truth while the masculine sheds all of these false identities. And I think we're at a big soul checkpoint here. We're at a pivotal pause before a major breakthrough, because that seed of union has already been planted in the soil, and it's about to burst, but there is a very, very clear need to weed out the devil and the Queen of Wands reverse before anything can grow. And that's what I've got for a message today. I really hope it helped. I hope it resonated. If you would like to go further with a twin flame reading, feel free to check out the links below. If you're not ready to book a reading, I do have a 22-page twin flame ebook guide. If you'd like the guide, comment down below. Send me the twin flame guide and I will send you the link to download the guide. If you're having trouble on the journey, it's just a nice compilation of all of the knowledge that I've learned on my own twin flame journey. I hope you have a great day, everybody, and I do look forward to seeing you all again next time.